And I remember being pulled, just pulled, like I had no control, like a force was pulling me. And I understood in that dream that the feeling that I got from that pulling, that force, it was an uneasy feeling, as if I knew I was about to go to judgment.
The star, came down, and we started being lifted off of the ground.
And I just remember being pulled up, completely consumed by this sandstorm.
I was lifted into the air. I don't know if it's a rapture or whatnot. But at the last second I was lifted up in the air, it was just like a gas or a fog.
It felt like they were being pulled towards this planet.
It was almost like a transition, and then immediately I was just being pulled through the galaxy.
And I was holding my daughter's hands, and they began to go up, and as they went up, they brought me up.
All of a sudden I felt myself lift up off the ground, and I just shot up. So I was like a little bit scared and worried about that.
But I was having a conversation with these two guys, and all of a sudden, I turned and I looked at the sky, and I saw the clouds. And I made mention to the individuals that I was speaking to. I said, man, there's something interesting about the clouds. Clouds look kind of funny. They look different. And one of the guys mentioned, yeah, they do look strange. And all of a sudden, there was a shift in the sky. And I remember being pulled, just pulled, like I had no control, like a force was pulling me. And I understood in that dream that the feeling that I got from that pulling, that force, it was an uneasy feeling, as if I knew I was about to go to judgment. And I started feeling and started thinking to myself, man, am I ready for the judgment? Am I gonna be all right?
There's this really, 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 really bright star. Not the sun. There was no sun. There's only a huge bright star that you could look at too. And I was like, why is there a star in the middle of the daytime and just one? And where's the sun at? Immediately after I said that, the star came down, and we started being lifted off of the ground. And when I say we, it was me and thousands of people. And then I didn't know what the star was, because Jesus told me that the sky would split, so I had no idea what the star was.
And I remember looking up, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, this sandstorm, or natural disaster, earthquake, it wasn't like a bomb explosion, but it was like a consuming sand. And I just remember being pulled up, completely consumed by this sandstorm.
And I was around a whole bunch of people in an urban area. I believe it may have been Chicago, Baltimore, older high-rise buildings of that nature. And all of a sudden, all these meteorites came out of nowhere. I'm talking millions of them. Every 5 feet, there was a meteorite just coming down, incinerating people, burning them, cutting them in half. It was absolutely awful. It was mayhem everywhere. Everyone started running for their lives, jumping over people, tripping people, hurting people, whatever it took to save their lives. They didn't care about their own children. All they cared about was saving themselves. I was lifted into the air. I don't know if it's a rapture or whatnot. But at the last second I was lifted up in the air, it was just like a gas or a fog.
And as it came closer, I felt like all of the Earth's structures, whether there were trees or houses, it felt like they were being pulled towards this planet.
It was almost like a transition, and I was in space, and then immediately I was just being pulled through the galaxy. And as I was going through the galaxy, I started to slow down, and suddenly it was almost like space started to fill up with a lot of asteroids, like an asteroid belt, and a few asteroids started to kind of move across and across my way, and some of them were really so big that I couldn't see anything. It was almost like it was obscuring my whole vision. So I was like, oh, okay, what's going on? So then suddenly the asteroid moved away, and what I saw was this very, very strange but dark looking planet. And I was like, okay, where did this come from? And I was like, what's going on? Why? Suddenly now I'm being pulled towards this planet, slowly, and I'm like, what's going on? I don't want to go near that. It doesn't look very good. It looks very creepy. And as I get closer and closer, the surface of this planet started to become more clearer, and it was like on fire, red hot, rusty looking planet. It wasn't like the sun, as tremendous heat, but it was like, you can tell, like it had the surface, and it was like lava and filling this whole planet, but with a lot of dark surfaces. And as I got closer and closer, then I could see that around the crust of this planet were huge, like volcano mountains that were kind of poking out of the crust, and on top of these volcanic mountains, it appeared to look like black figures. It looked like dark ash, but like smeared, like a sketch. But it was like of this person, figures of men or women, and they had their arms like waving up like this and stretching out towards the sky. And I was like, okay, I know where I'm going. This is hell. There's no way this is some random planet that is scary or some nightmare dream of I'm having it. This is hell.
I saw the sky was red, and then all of a sudden this planet is just there. It was like it just appeared out of nowhere, and it had like craters all over it, and it had a red mist coming off of it. And a couple seconds after I looked at it, I see things getting sucked into it, like the gravity is just, and the force is just pulling it, whatever gravitational forces or whatever, it's just pulling everything into it like a black hole.
This loudest sound I've ever heard in my life. And then all of a sudden, I just got this feeling that come over me. And I was holding my daughter's hands, and they began to go up. And as they went up, they brought me up. But while we are going up in the air, imagine burnt cooking oil that is cloudy and that can move. It was coming down. It was coming down as we was going up.
I don't really understand what it was. Like, I don't understand how I saw, him just go up. But he just went up and shot up really, really, really fast. Like, his face went, and then this thing came down, and he shot up just so fast into the sky. And all of a sudden, I felt myself lift up off the ground, and I just shot up. And after that, it was just dark for a second. So I was like a little bit scared and worried about that.